Welcome to Coffee and Hardcore Season 2, Episode 8. Open up a can of coffee and hardcore, you fart knockers.
You said fart knockers.
I did. And you just heard our theme song by the one and only, the legendary beast, Skullcrack.
Ooh, the one and only. We have a great show for you all. We chat with the band Change. Dude, great band. Come on, man.
Come on. Yeah.
Great band. I'm excited for this chat.
Yeah. Yeah. We also review 4 killer albums from 4 bands that we've been stoked about for a while.
Very true. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for y'all to hear it.
Yes.
I'm excited for us each to play a song from the band that we each pick that we each like.
I'm excited to drop the set list for the show that has all the bands that we review and interview.
And that you cut from the show, but we still put in the list. Dude, exactly. I like those. I go and I listen to them. They're fun because I walk to work and back.
Yeah.
And that's why I listen to them. I wait to work and back. That was a great idea for you to do that. Did you pull that out of your ass or did you get inspired somewhere else?
Pretty much pulled it out of my ass. I was like,
hey,
that's
and
a cool
love
idea.
It is a cool idea. We talk coffee. It's the Coffee and Hardcore podcast, fart knockers. Why wouldn't we talk about coffee?
That's right. So, hey, let's get into this thing.
Fart knockers.
Fresh pot!
All right. This is the section when Mr. Mick, say what's up.
What's up? Sorry, I was in mid-drink of coffee. What's up?
I said it right when you took a drink. This is when we talk coffee shop, coffee chat. And we got Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark Sylvester!
What up?
With us today to talk.
Fresh pots!
Fresh pots! But Mark, we have a special someone here that wants to talk to you.
A special someone?
Yeah. Should we bring him in, Mick?
Yeah, I should hit the button, shouldn't I?
Yeah, we got someone that wants to say hi to you. Oh, snap.
Who could it be? Who could it be?
It's like you can't see the name or anything. Woo! It's Jacob of Oak and Grown Coffee!
Hell yeah.
What's up, dude? Man, you look... You
He's
can't
muted.
hear you.
He's muted.
Yo, bro, you mute yourself. Of course he mute himself. Yo, you got to turn off the mute button, Jacob.
Guess what? He froze.
What? The Finger Lakes ain't got no good internet. Hey, you're muted. Here, I'll text it to you.
No, he's not muted now. It's just now it's no.
Now he has no Wi-Fi.
Oh. Maybe you got no Wi-Fi. He's texting me back. And his beautiful St. Louis blue shirt. I can hear you guys, he's saying.
But we can't hear you.
Well, we thought we had a guest for you. At least you can see his face.
You got to see his beautiful face. It's been a long time.
It's a beautiful face.
He said, I can hear you guys. No speaker. Let's just, he can figure this out. Let's get into this with Mark because he's our guest. Right. What coffee you got for us today, Mark?
I have Water Gap Coffee's organic Mexican high grown.
Woo! Oh. That sounds epic.
It's delicious.
And you're drinking out of your black coffee, black flag cup?
Yes, sir.
Get that. Jacob's just going to watch us.
Creeper.
He said it's my Wi-Fi. It's all good. All right. Cool. Well, let's get into this. Tell us about this coffee.
Well, it's a nice dark roast, of course, from Mexico, with notes of chocolate. What their description is, chocolate and spice. And that's all the description is, but it's very good. I love coffees with that nice chocolatey flavor. It's not bitter at all. It's not very acidic. It's just a nice, smooth coffee that I enjoy thoroughly.
That's good. So how did you hear about this coffee?
I was just doing a search for local coffee roasters, and Water Gap Coffee came up, and I don't know how I've never heard of them because they've been in business for 17 years. They're about 15 minutes from my house.
Nice.
So I kind of reached out to the owner and was like, "Hey, I'm looking to try some coffees. What do you recommend?" And she was just like, "Let me put something together for you, and you can pick them up at the mail room that they also own. And let me know what you think." And I was like, "Cool." So I show up, and they have like 5 different coffees for me to try, and the Mexican high grown happened to be my favorite one out of the bunch.
Oh, you sent Mick and I coffee.
I did. I sent you guys the Tanzanian pea berry. Did you guys try that?
I did. I even brought it up north and had my whole family try it.
Yeah. What'd they think?
Really good. Well, I mean, my family drinks Maxwell House, but really good. I'm glad let's say I'm glad I brought it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's always better than Maxwell House.
I agree.
Yeah. I think
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think we just finished that up.
I mean, it's not really a whole lot to.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger bag than normal, though.
Yeah.
The normal bag coffee, right?
I think theirs are 16 ounces. I think that bag was a 16-ounce bag.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Usually like around 12 or something like that.
Right. But you have something else exciting happening. Hopefully happening, right?
I do. I started home roasting myself, which will hopefully blossom into doing some sales, because I've just through the whole pandemic thing and teaming up with Jacob from Oak and Crow and getting some stuff together for the firehouse, it kind of little fire under my butt to become a little more passionate about some things. And I was like, you know what? I love coffee. This seems really interesting to me. So I started doing some research, started getting some equipment, some beans, and started roasting out of my house now.
So you have roasted already?
I have roasted. I'm actually drinking some of my first batch right now, which is also a Mexican coffee. This one, though, is some chocolate with some accents of dried apple, raisin, and brown sugar. So
what do you think of it? Of your
what do I think of it?
Yeah, your test run.
I I can't ask myself. I will say my fiance, she is brutally honest about everything. And when she took a sip of it, she was like, I really like it. She's like, it's not bitter. She's like, even after sitting for a while and it gets cool, there's no bitterness to it. So I guess I did pretty well for the first run.
That's cool.
I roasted another batch the other night, which smells delicious. I didn't grind any of it yet or try it, but it's up in the kitchen. So looking forward to trying that. And then I have some more beans on the way, which I will be doing some experimentation with, and then I'll be sending some stuff out to you guys to try, so you guys can let me know what you think.
Yes,
nice. So what are you calling this? What are you calling this adventure?
It will be called Quarry Stone Coffee.
Nice.
Just because we live in what is known as the Slate Belt.
Okay.
And in Bangor and the surrounding town is just full of now abandoned slate quarries. Bangor, which used to be one of the biggest slate producers of the country at one time, and now is not such a big thing anymore. But the slate quarries are still here, and I just want to kind of pay a little homage to my hometown. I've only ever lived outside of Bangor for a few years, and I moved back, and along with the fire company, I always like to give back to the community that I was raised in. They were always good to me, so just want to do something for the community.
That's awesome. So not to interrupt you guys here or anything, but Jacob asked me to text him the Zoom link. So I know that usually doesn't work when I do that, because remember I was accidentally doing that to a bunch of people.
Yeah. Hold on.
But we'll see.
We can do it.
We'll see if this works. We thought it would be a cool surprise for you, Mark, even though it looks like even though we can't hear him, we can see him.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah.
Whoa,
we can hear you.
It worked. We don't
All right,
see
let
you,
me get
but we
the
hear
headphones.
you.
Jacob just raised his hand. I don't know what that means.
What's going on? I see 2 marks now.
You see 2 marks now? That's
Yeah.
weird.
The hell's going on with this?
I don't know, but you're working. Hey, there you are.
This is crazy.
All right. Well, I can
Coffee.
see you guys. I don't know why you guys can you see me at all?
No.
Nope.
Weird.
But
All
we
right,
can't
well,
hear
yeah.
you.
Coffee and technical difficulties. Welcome to the show.
So anyway,
Coffee
what's up?
Coffee and Mick has a lot of editing to do. Yeah. What's up, buddy? We got Mark on here.
Nothing. I'm in the middle of roasting for this cafe in Maine.
Yeah, you said
What are
it
you
might
roasting?
be loud in the background.
Yeah. Well, I'm not in the roasting room. Now I'm back in the roasting room.
Mark asked you what you were roasting. Coffee.
I'm roasting some Costa Rica Las Lajas, a black honey process.
Ooh.
That sounds good.
Yeah, except that it keeps trying to light the roaster on fire with chaff. It happens every time I roast, almost every time I roast coffee for this guy.
Why?
I don't know, but he managed to pick coffees that always want to catch on fire.
Cursed.
But
That's
yeah,
weird.
whatever. But the problem is, I was planning on taking the afternoon off, and then he gets a hold of me while I'm at my other job, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, I need one of those full bags done by Saturday morning." So that means my afternoon after going to the co-op all day today and tomorrow is totally shot.
Dang.
Sorry to hear that, man.
I signed
And
on
now-
for it, so I can't really say anything.
And now we're bugging you.
Well, I'm used to it.
That's true. Hey, you had a coffee though, right? That you wanted to talk about.
I won't be able to do it right now. I have too much going on. I'm trying not to catch my roaster on fire.
You're funny.
And I'm about to hit first crack here. Mark, what are you roasting on?
I'm using a whirly pop on my propane grill.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, figure stuff out until I get an actual roaster. But it seems to be working out.
Yeah, you got any pointers for him, Jacob?
I've never used one of those. So no, I would hate to give him bad information.
Well, how did you start?
I started on a 35-pound Civets air roaster. It's like a huge popcorn popper. And after a couple of years on that, I moved to a Probat 5-kilo drum roaster, and then a 45-kilo Probat drum roaster, and now I have a Diedrich IR12.
Now he's a professional.
He is.
Hey, I've been a professional for over a decade. Knock it off.
Now he's still a professional.
Jacob, what did you change? The name of the dumpster fire coffee. You just changed that, right? It's called.
Yeah, it's Red Dragon, and I was gonna go with the traditional Welsh name, but I figured it would be way too confusing because Welsh is a ridiculous language.
So now he's going to change it to roaster fire.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
snap. Got him.
I wish you guys could smell this. There's burning embers right now. It's a little unsettling.
Oh my gosh.
Is it going to be good still, you think?
Oh yeah. It's just in one of the catch trays.
Hmm.
But as soon as I pull this out, I have to dump it into a huge mug of water that I have sitting here.
Wow.
It's really hard to explain. I wish we had a video so I could show you guys. I wish we had smell-o-vision.
Scratch and sniff the screen. Oh, yeah.
You see this? I'm a professional. Where is it?
Look at it.
Boom!
Oh, roaster of the year.
Roaster of the year.
Oh, snap.
Although that was like
They're
almost
giving
10
those to
years
anybody
ago.
now.
Hey, Mark's
just
got to
kidding.
get one next.
Whew.
I got big
Yeah.
shoes to fill.
He's talking to somebody.
I was talking to Dawn. Say hi, Dawn.
What's up? Hey, I tried on her Fred Perry shirts. They didn't fit.
Yeah, her Fred Perrys were really small. Sorry, man.
No, that's cool. I thought it was hilarious. So Jacob puts up this post saying, here's these Fred Perrys. If anyone wants them, because they don't really fit me anymore or whatever. So I hit him up. I'm like, I want them. And he's like, well, they're on the side of, would you say, medium small?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that'll work. And he sends them. And I'm like, oh, thanks, dude. This is so great. I'm going to send you these pictures, guys. And I put these things on and I send him these photos. And they're seriously like belly shirts. I'm like, dude, what's up with this? And he's like, oh, sorry. My wife used those ones.
I warned you. I tried to warn you.
Do you see him, Nick?
The first picture, you look like an old man. You look like an old man who somebody stole his Cheetos at the old folks home. You're pissed and you gotta yell about it. Like, who stole my Cheetos?
I gave him a confused face. Like, why are these on me? Who dressed me this morning? I put them on and I showed my wife and she just shook her head like very hard no.
Stuffed vegan sausage.
That's right.
Oh gosh.
So Mark,
geez.
one thing that I will tell you while you're getting started,
Mhm.
never say no.
Never say no.
Uh-oh.
Everything you do is going to be a learning process.
No, absolutely.
Except that you're going to overextend yourself and end up with a bunch of these going on, and when you'd rather be eating dinner and relaxing.
Yeah, I can already tell that that's going to be a thing, but so is life.
Yeah. Welcome to your new life, roasting at 7:30 in the nighttime.
Well, no, It's only when you're dumb enough to manage 2 departments at a food co-op during the day. I have zero free time these days.
But if someone asks you to manage a food co-op, remember, never say no.
That's right. Never say no.
That's not what I meant, but I see why you're saying that, damn it.
Oh, Jacob.
Let's take a road trip out here and do some roasting.
Funny that you mentioned that. The fiance, she's technically my wife. Her birthday's coming up next month, and we need like a kid-free vacation. And I said we should go up to the Finger Lakes. So
that's perfect because Dawn and I love kid-free.
Oh,
no offense, Wiley.
I'm a big kid. Look at that! It worked out.
Yeah, like that. If we decide to make a trip up that way, I will definitely let you know.
Nice.
Look at this. Things are aligning.
Stars, the world.
And you know what it means? It means more coffee for me.
Yeah. The world is no longer flat.
Wait, what?
I think it's cool. I think it's cool that Jacob's helping you and that this other lady's helping you.
Oh,
she's
absolutely.
Only look at that.
Wait a minute.
That's
so
huge.
If the world's not flat, you're going to tell me that birds are also real then?
They're round. Birds are round, yes.
Birds are round. The world is real. Got it.
The world is real.
Except for pigeons, because pigeons are actually government video cameras.
Drones? Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Why do you think there's so many in cities? Makes sense.
It does make sense. I thought they were just flying rats, but that does make sense.
Mick, did you let that cat in yet?
No,
Nancy.
Sad story. Sad story.
Oh no,
no.
We actually don't know. Like, we haven't seen either of the cats for like a month and a half now. My wife is completely, totally tore up.
Oh no.
The one cat had kittens, and she kind of was staying in her owner's house more. And then I think after the kittens happened, and they got, they were able to give out the kittens, I think they got rid of the cats. We haven't seen them.
Really?
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
It is a bummer. My wife is very
back
upset.
Prancy Nancy.
Yes, bring back Prancy Nancy.
Well, Jacob, at least tell us the coffee that you are going to review, so we can put it in the notes.
It's a Columbia from. I'll give you the notes I have afterwards. I'll send them to you. It's a coffee from Night Flyer Coffee Roasters in North Carolina. It's a natural processed Columbia, and it's absolutely delicious. I don't have the notes in front of me. I was going to brew some while we were doing this before I realized I was going to have to roast. I had a whole plan for this.
It's okay, man.
And it kind of got ruined.
We're just happy to see you.
But
and talk to you.
Finally, now that it's weird. Next time, let's do this. Remind me to do it on my phone, not a computer, because this seems to be working a lot better.
Will do.
Sorry, I don't know if you can still see me. I had to come outside for some fresh air. I'm wandering around the back of the roasting area by the barns.
Yeah, it looks nice out there. Looks very peaceful.
Nice and quiet. It is, until I get all wound up because the neighbors are being loud, and I pull out the shotgun and start firing off rounds behind the barn.
Do they get quiet after that?
Last time they got real quiet.
Anyway, I hate to be a party pooper, but I got to get this finished. I've only seen my wife for about an hour and a half since about 6:30 this morning.
Okay, buddy.
Well, thanks for having me on again and letting me sneak up on Mark.
It was fun.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
All the help.
This was an interesting coffee chat. We got
next time,
behind
next
the scenes.
time, remind me to do it on the phone, and then I won't cut out next time.
Will do. All right, brother.
All right, thanks again. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, Jacob, take care, man.
Sounds good. Sounds good, buddy.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool. So I'm excited for you to send us some of your home brewed coffee.
Yeah, I'm excited to send you some.
When do you think that'll be up and going?
I think the beans will get here next week, I believe. So hopefully it's not 100+ degrees outside, and I can stand over the stove to do that.
Bad.
So hopefully within the next few weeks, I'll have some sent to you guys.
Awesome.
That'd be great. We're excited.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. I'm excited to send it.
Cool. All right, brother. Well, we got a lot more to record for this show, so we're going to let you go. Sorry for all the technical difficulties.
Hey, that's fine. I just go with the flow, man. It's just throw whatever at me. I don't care.
You got to.
Absolutely.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. Take care.
That was the song Balance by the band Change. We have a few members from Change with us today. Introduce yourself, guys, and what you do in the band.
My name is Aram, and I sing.
My name is Chris. I play guitar.
Yes.
Barely walk, jumping around like a fool.
Well, we are super excited to have Change on the show because Mick and I love this band. And my personal top 3 records of 2020 are Drained, California Cursed, Vanguard, Rage of Deliverance, and the Change record, Closer Still. 3 unstoppable records of last year. Good work on a flawless record, guys. So let's get into this. You ready?
Definitely.
All right, let's do it.
So ready.
So how did you all form Change, and what were the top influences musically for this band?
So Chris and I played together for years in Champion, and we've been like super close friends forever. Like, we're like in each other's like wedding parties and speak at each other's weddings and stuff. So we've been buddies for a really long time, and more than buddies, we've been like family for a really long time. And we'd been going through a challenging time as a group of friends, and I had written a bunch of songs that I had like recorded a few years earlier with a bunch of guys locally that were in a band called Keep It Clear. The music wasn't for Keep It Clear; it was another thing that we were doing, and we never finished the record. It just was there without vocals, and it was all songs that I had written and I'd been playing guitar on. And so we were going through this tough time, and I was just going through a lot of just personal strife and like lots of anxiety, lots of depression. And I decided to go back and finish the songs and do vocals on it. And so I started writing some lyrics, and a lot of ups and downs. It took me a long time to get there. And then when I started doing vocals, it took me a long time. And I didn't tell anyone I was doing this. I was just doing it basically for myself to kind of like work out how I felt. And when I finished the record, I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. I didn't have a plan to release it. It was more like it was something I had to finish, and it was something I had to complete. So the first person I sent it to was Chris, because he would be like within the first 3 people that I'd send anything to. So I sent it over to him, and he was instantly like really supportive. And that's really how the band started, even though it wasn't really a band. It was more just like, here are these songs. Then he gave me feedback, and I'll, Chris, I don't know what you want to add to after that.
Real quick, did you play guitar on these and send them to him? Like, did you have what was this format that you sent to him?
Yeah, so like it was a completed record. It was like a finished record. And so I'd played rhythm guitar, and then a guy named Dave Mitchell played lead guitar. A guy named Carl played bass, and a guy named Alex played drums. So Alex is in Punitive Damage, and Dave and Carl are in a band now called Applewhite, which is kind of like more of a shoegaze kind of band.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sent it over to Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sent it to me, and it's like Aram said, it was something that we were kind of both working through together. There were a lot of conversations, as he's going through this process, and so it was a long process over the course of a few years. And one day he just sent it to me and it's like, hey, it's done. And I was like, whoa, it's done. And yeah, I put it on, and I was like, and this was the first time I heard it. He didn't send me like any of the early like scratch tracks or anything like that. He sent it to me, and I was just like blown away instantly. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Like, I think at this point, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ram, but you didn't really know yet if this was going to be a band or just something you were going to do, and just having your for your personal enjoyment and therapy and stuff like that. And I was just like instantly like, dude, you got to put this out. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I had no plans to put it out at all. So Chris was like, you got to do it. And then obviously I was like, well, okay, if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to put it out, then you got to play guitar. And actually, I think he was like, put it out, and like, I want to play guitar. And I was like, hell yeah, like, let's do it. And then when I'd been writing the lyrics, our friend Jeff, who sings in Odd Man Out, and he was in Angel Dust and all that kind of stuff, and Gag, Jeff had been someone that I'd actually been sending lyrics to, and like he'd been like kind of helping me refine my ideas, because when I started writing the lyrics, I was like a mess, and I was writing like just like overwriting everything and like being like super like out there. So he was kind of like my, yeah, that's good, or no, you should keep working on it kind of guy. And so he was obviously like the guy we had to get to play drums. And then our friend Mike, who's like a super close friend of all of ours, and he's a really good friend of mine, lives locally, and he was totally down to play guitar. And then Chris, I didn't know our bass player. He's the only guy I didn't know. Chris recommended Matt, and that's how Matt got in the band. And it's just been like cool. Everyone gets along. Everyone's super like, everyone's very nice and really relaxed. So it's like a very nice band situation. There's no like overtly intense like person in the band.
So let me try to wrap my head around this. So you got these songs recorded with a different group of people, and then you sought out a band to play live.
Yeah, a totally different group of people. I'm the only person who recorded on the record that's like,
okay,
that plays.
Gotcha. So, but now that you have like a set lineup, if you guys choose to do another record, you're going to have these group of guys on it.
Yeah, this is the band for sure.
Okay.
It's not like a band where anyone's interchangeable. Like, this is the band.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's the inspiration? Like, what musically inspired you guys to do this?
Well, youth of today, like,
Yeah.
I mean, guys, thanks for the riffs, but like,
Definitely. Well, because you guys are vegan straight edge, right?
No,
or you are?
We're a straight edge band for sure, like 100% straight edge band with like a vegan vegetarian message. Like that's one of the things. Like I'll get to that in a sec. Like Youth of Today was like #1 influence, but it'd be Youth of Today, Uniform Choice, 7 Seconds, Instead, Sportswear, and then like some of like the more melodic stuff would be Embrace, Verbal Assault, Shelter. Like those would be the influences for the band.
Those are great influences, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. And it was the kind of band I've always wanted to do something like this, something that's like super musical. The songwriting is like the focus is the songwriting. It's like the craft of songwriting. And there's a lot of time spent with these songs. And the guys who play it on the record are like phenomenal musicians. So like that was the impetus, was like doing something like that with along those lines, but like the highest level of musicianship, like really writing cool songs. And also like not being bound to like, I'd say like musically, like I probably played it too safe lots of times. I wanted to do stuff that was like just interesting. Like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. Especially if like, like you're just doing it for the art of writing a song and writing a cool song. Like, yeah, that was awesome. That was the impetus around straight edge for sure. 100% straight edge band. Like everyone's in the band is straight edge, and you'd have to be straight edge to be in the band for sure. Not as a like blocker, but it's just like, that's the style. This is what we are. That's right. It's also, I think it's like an important thing of straight edge, and it's cool to be in a band. The vegan vegetarian stuff, I'm real specific. Straight edge band with a vegetarian vegan message, because you would not have to be vegan or vegetarian to be in this band. And the main reason isn't so we could get the right people in the band. It's that I think it's such a for me, it says more about it being able to be in a band that has a strong message where people can be ideologically different, but they can still support the ideas. And so not everyone in the band is vegetarian or vegan. I certainly am, but that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, I agree with that completely too. Because Mick and I started a band, and I'm the only, well, we're all straight edge band, but I'm the only vegan in the band.
Yeah.
So I completely understand that. So what was the inspiration for the band name? And I want to get also, second part of this question is the artwork. Like that artwork is brilliant. It's amazing. So that's a two-parter. What was the inspiration for the band name and the artwork of that record?
The name came to me. So like there's something, I was thinking about this interview today and what I would want to say about songwriting and what I want to say about this band. Like when I'm writing lyrics, the way that the lyrics should go in a song kind of reveal themselves over time. Like when you're really immersed in a song and you're spending time and you're trying different things, over time, it just kind of reveals itself. And it was the same thing with the band name. Like I wasn't sweating it because I wasn't trying to like be in a band. I was just like, I did this thing. But one day it just hit me. I was just sitting around working, and it just like name popped into my head, change. And I thought about it. It was like, listen, like my world changed. Chris' world changed. Like we went through unbelievably brutal time, and our group of friends and a lot of people associated with it, and a lot of things changed as a result. And I hope to believe that things changed for the better and will continue to change for the better, but there's also like there was a lot of dark stuff happened. Like there was a lot of bad change and difficult change and scary change, and as a result of all of that stuff, it's like you can only hope that as you walk through the utter slog of that stuff, that you come out a better person. And that was the idea behind the name. And when I think about it, it just keeps hitting me on a bunch of different levels. Like it's the band name that definitely works for this band, this group of people, this time, and like the message of the band for sure. Chris, I don't know, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, this is, some of these questions are all about like the impetus and the inspiration and stuff, and that was certainly more of a Ram's vision. So I don't know how much I have to add to that, but I love the idea of it, and I love the just the nature of Aram. Maybe you can speak to this too, but the idea of the album title, Closer Still, I think is super important as well. You want to touch on that?
Yeah. So when something happens, like if you get like you touch a hot stove, you pull away, and you're not like oh, I want to do that again. And when stuff happens in life and it hurts you in a way that makes you want to recoil and it makes you want to run away, the whole idea is like, you can run away. Like you can run away from a lot of things in life. And in fact, you can run away from things and never look at something again, ever. You know, like you can run away from bad situations, bad people, bad friendships, bad relationships, bad jobs. Or you can stop and you can turn back around and you can look at that thing and not just take it in, but actually get closer to that suffering. And when I say closer, the whole idea is like, actually get closer still to it. Like, don't just understand what happened, understand the road that brought you there, the decisions that brought you there, what you saw, what you didn't see, why things happened. Try and understand the people behind it, not just in like a angry way, but in also like, well, how did that happen to them? And like, why did they react that way? And how did that happen? And just really try and understand it from an empathetic space of like, I want to really understand myself and other people to understand how we got here. And it sucks and it's horrible and it doesn't feel good. So it's like, imagine holding your hand to a hot stove. It's that kind of idea, but it's not a hot stove. It's like an emotional pain. And for me, at least, the only way to like grow from that and get better from that is like not just turning around and looking at it, but it's actually getting closer still to that and then really sitting with that pain and trying to figure it out. And that's what the song title or the record's about, the title of the record.
So this is a very personal record for you, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have to get into this. And if I'm overstepping, let me know. But so you said hard things happen for you guys. Can you elaborate on that? Or is that something that you'd like to keep personal? Like what exactly happened for you to get into the headspace to write these songs and to put this record out?
Chris, if you want to speak about it.
Well, what I was going to add real quick before we go there, I think, you know, going back to what I was saying before about, you know, when I said to Aram, you have to put this out. Like part of it was certainly, yeah, it's musically, it's awesome. It rips, it sounds cool. But like, I think what really struck me was the emotion and the message behind it and the lyrical content and you know the idea of growing past depression and you know facing things like real serious things and I think that message is something that, you know, whether or not people are dealing with a specific scenario like we did or, you know, their own personal traumatic incidents, like I think a lot of people can learn from some of that mentality of you know, I guess just the approach of overcoming adversity, of dealing with the depression, with, you know, embracing it so that you can get over it.
Sure. What do you think, Mick? You got anything to add?
No, I was just going to say that I'm hearing the story behind the album, the name, everything just totally makes sense when I look at how therapeutic this album has been for my house in this last year. I know Wiley and I have talked about this album probably since it came out. We talked about it and then we finally reviewed it.
Didn't we give it album of the year?
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah. So for us, it's always kind of been, at least for me, I know it's been in the rotation for the last year and it's been very therapeutic. Like every time it's like I, you know, and we'll talk about this in a second, but the bass tone is killer. Like I'm all about it. I'm like,
yeah, it's his favorite bass tone, by the way.
And so there's that part of it. And like you said, Chris, the instrumentation and all of that is unreal. But when you put the whole package together and what's being poured out and then the emotion in it, it's just, you can feel it. So, you know, whatever happened, that's definitely coming out and you can feel it's beyond just therapy. It's just very refreshing. It's just real open and you can feel it I don't know. It was very, like I said, it's been very therapeutic for me in the last year. So,
well, and we just dropped an episode today with tuning and I wasn't able to make that chat, but Mick talked with them and there was a very similar aspect to their record that was very therapeutic for them too. And they were going through some tough times. And I actually just listened to the whole thing yesterday for the first time. And it was just interesting. It's interesting to hear how a piece of music that you listen to and that you get into, a piece of art, how it opens up. And when you hear the story, it becomes almost 3-dimensional for you. Yeah. Like, I feel like now listening to your guys' record, I'm going to see it in a whole different light, you know? So that's really cool when you find out the backstory about those kind of things and about art and records and bands.
Yeah.
So again, we appreciate it.
Yeah. And Tuning, awesome band.
Oh, for sure.
Shout out to them. But yeah, that's one of the things I love the most about hardcore is like, you know, there's a lot of good music out there, but like with hardcore, you know, in particular, everything that goes into it is a part of the package. It's not just how it sounds, it's what it's about, what it looks like, you know, the values, the representations.
Oh yeah, the words are huge for hardcore. That's what I love about hardcore. It's not just pop music. Nothing against pop music or people who like it, but but I like that the hardcore message is raw and real and close to home. And so I can tell, I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, which you don't have to, but I can tell there's a lot of that in your record. And I think that's what makes it, for me, one of the best records of 2020. So it's real.
Yeah. So like, I'll talk about it just a bit. Like, I don't want to go too deep into it because like I kind of feel like I've said everything I need to say about it at this point. I've talked about it on a lot of podcasts.
Yeah,
but like,
well, I don't want to pressure you either. So.
No. Like I'll just like, I don't want to talk around it either. So like Chris and I were in Champion together, and the singer of Champion in 2016 was accused of sexually assaulting like a huge number of women. I think like 100 people came out about
Holy
it.
Cow.
Yeah, it was really like, it's as serious as it gets. It was really, really serious. And, you know, I won't go into the whole story because like, I don't want to like tell anyone's story. I don't want to bum anyone out. And I'm also not like, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to like win the people over here. Like it's you can find all the stories online. It's a really serious discussion. I don't think people should not look into it. I think you should look into it. Like, I think it's an important thing to do. And Chris and I were like really like the two people in the band who like dealt with it, and we were like really like did our best to get through it. And it was a really just a terrible situation, and we dealt with it and we did the best we could. And like, I can't speak for Chris, but like I mean it changed my life forever. Like my life's forever changed. But like I spiraled into like real serious depression about a year. Like I was in probably a state of shock for about a year. Like I was just kind of like going through life kind of a little mechanically. And then about a year-ish later, I like hit like a crazy depression, like total like blackout depression, and like super anxious, became socially anxious, couldn't hang out with people, couldn't be around people. And it took me a long time to get back on track. And I didn't actually like fully feel like myself again until we did the tour, until we did the Change tour. And after that, I felt like I'd fully stepped back into who I am. And like, it, you know, like I'd been getting better over the years between then. So like, you know, this happened in 2016. The Change record came out in
2020, right?
Yeah. And we did a tour that year. So it took me about 4 years to like really get back on my feet. And this isn't like some like, oh, poor us story. Like, I mean, some really serious stuff happened. And two things can be true here. Like really serious stuff happened. And like, we totally acknowledge and like want to give that space. And also there's like a group of friends who were just like completely knocked off their feet. And there were multiple people, especially Chris and I, that really like struggled through that. Cause there's like all sorts of stuff that I can get into. I won't, but essentially, I'd been kind of like pushing through it because, you know, I have like a job, I built a company, I like, you know, had a kid. Like you got to be present in your life. But also I was trying to show up in my life, but also like dealing with this turmoil. And that was first external, but then it became all internal. And around 2019, I started to really get back to being who I am. And by 2020, I was like really back to who I am, but a much better version of who I was. Like I'd say like this thing helped me address things that needed to be addressed in my personality and just who I am, in a way where I feel like I'm a much like healthier, happier, well-balanced person than I was before any of this happened. So that's me dealing with that and then dealing with just the aspects of my life is what the record's about.
Well, that's clearly a fitting name for the band then. Wow. And I didn't know that you two were in Champion. That's pretty huge.
And so, Chris, is
the
there
other thing? The other
I'm
thing
sorry
that
that happened to you, though.
Yeah, I mean, the situation was obviously a rough situation, and there's a lot of people who, are affected a lot worse than we were as people that, were close to, the band and stuff. But I think, beyond the personal nature, like, you look at situations like this and you try to think about how to learn and how to move on, how to not make a positive out of a negative, because that's way too simplistic. But like, something that I've thought about a lot over the last few years is how important it is, like, particularly as men in the scene, to talk about consent and like what consent is, and how power dynamics play into consent, how age plays into consent, alcohol. And so I would just encourage everyone to, have those open conversations about consent and, what exactly it means. And hopefully, through having those conversations, we can move to closer to a reality where that kind of stuff doesn't happen, because it happens way too much, in our scene and in lots of scenes in the world at large. Like hardcore, we think of hardcore as kind of this bastion of this safe space from the outside world, but there's a lot of the ugly stuff from the outside world that creeps its way in. So it's important to realize that and to talk about it and keep that dialogue open.
Yeah. And I know you said a lot of people are affected by it, but also me looking in at you two, you put your life and your time, invested time in your life into a band, and one person can ruin all that. That's terrible. So I think it's great that you guys joined back together and started this band and called it Change. That sounds very therapeutic. All right, dog cameo. Dog cameos are my favorite, by the way.
Oh, dog cameos, and my mom just came upstairs too. Mom,
that's awesome. So can you? It feels weird to like jump into something else right now, but can you guys talk about the artwork? What inspired it? Because I gotta say that's one of my favorite. And I'm not just pulling your chain here, but I feel like that's one of my favorite covers that I've seen in a while too.
Man, artwork. So obviously, like, huge. I'm a massive Uniform Choice fan. Like, even if you looked at photos of like Betrayed, I'm almost always wearing a Uniform Choice shirt. Like visually, Uniform.
Like right now.
Yeah, visually Uniform Choice, from like the way like all of their layouts were and shirts were. They're just like a really visually striking band. They knew how to put together a layout, and that also was for like all the bands in Wishing Well. Like Wishing Well had like a really cool vibe. So when the record was coming out, and like, Chris and I had been like, all right, like we're gonna do this band. I was like, God, I gotta come up with some artwork, and that has chronically been my weakest space. Like if you look at almost any record that I've played on, the art has never been an afterthought. But I'll tell you this, like when we were playing in Champion, it was like, we weren't like, oh, let's make the greatest record with the most beautiful art. We were like, we got to go to Australia. Like we got to write a record. We got to get it out. We got to do this tour. Like we were always about like the live experience and meeting people and the adventure. So the art was never like the focus. And it wasn't that we didn't care about it, but like we weren't like, none of us were like really like gifted that way. Or I think like we weren't students of it. But and we were lucky enough to have like people designing the stuff that were students of that, because I think a lot of the artwork looks awesome. But as Aram said, it was never like we poured every thought that we had into the artwork. It was kind of like, this is kind of the vibe we're going for. Like, what do you got? That was totally it. And like our friend Scott McGrath did Promises Captain, and was just like, man, you got it. Like you just do it and nailed it. Give us the art, right? But with this, like, I didn't know if I don't know if I'll ever do another record again. I believe Change will do lots of records. I think Change is going to be a band for a long time. I hope, knock on wood. But I don't know if I'm going to do something again. And I was like, this record was so important to me, and I felt it was important to Chris. wanted to do it right. And so like I sat down with like a ton of records. I looked at color schemes. Like I was like really thought about it. I like had our friend Eric do the logo, and then I had my friend Mike, who lives in Denver, like
the logo as the name, right? You mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like Mike kind of helped like build off that. And then Eric, who's like this incredible artist out in Salt Lake City, he drew the tree, and him and I went back and forth on it a bit. And then my friend John,
so cool.
Yeah, he did a great job. My friend John, who lives in Oslo, he used to play guitar in a band called Common Cause. He came up with like the color scheme behind it. And then Evan, who sang in Mindset and who runs React, he did like the construction of the layout. So it was like really like this like international village of people coming together to make this happen. And it was cool because like everybody added their own take on it. And for me, it's like, it's like, for me, my favorite piece of like all together packaging, along with like how it sounds, the songs and everything came together just right. So I feel like really good about it.
Well, so for the listener, it's a tree, like a shadow of a tree, right? Or not a shadow, but like a black outline of the tree. And it has the band name changed underneath it. But in the background, it's got this light blue, these purples and pink, and almost like the comic dots.
Yeah. That's
what I really love about this, is when I saw that, like the attention to detail, even like the grass on the bottom that's kind of blowing. It's awesome artwork. Good job, man.
I will add too, like there's an aspect in there too that you might not have even noticed, because I never noticed it until I heard Aram talk about it on another podcast. And that's that if you look at one side of the tree, it's different from like the other side.
Oh yeah.
They're done in different art styles. So like,
you mean completely different styles?
Yeah. So like Eric called me, and he was like, Eric is incredible. He does art for a ton of people. And so he hit me up. He's like, hey, I could draw it this way, or I could draw it this way. And I was like, want to do both? Do half of the tree this way, half the tree that way. And he was like, oh, like change. I was like,
yeah, because one side's fuller than the other side.
Yeah, and they're actually done in different styles. Like if you were to talk to Eric, he could get like right down to like how he actually did it. It's specifically done. One is done in one style, another
That's cool.
Like different style.
Well, even more respect. You guys are killing it. Let's see here. What was the recording process like for this record? I know we talked about it in the beginning, but I mean, like, so you when you wrote all these songs, did you have an idea how you wanted everything to sound? Like, you played guitar on it. Do you play bass also and drums? No. So you basically play guitar and wrote it, and then you sent it out for people to play bass and drums on it.
No, it wasn't that simple. Like I got to give total props to Dave and Carl and Alex. So like we played in Keep It Clear together for like many years, and like we gotten into a space of how to like write songs together, and like we'd also like we'd played in this like short-lived band called True Identity, and like I was always in Keep It Clear, Dave was the songwriter. Dave and the singer Andy were the songwriter. But in this, it's like I'm going to come to the table with the songs. But what was real cool about it was like nothing was off the table. So I'd come into the song, and then maybe Alex would be like, oh, we should speed up that song. Or like Carl would be like, oh, we should like move this here. So it was like this really collaborative, took a super long time to write each song. We like deconstructed everything, then we pieced it back together. Like we were literally like going home and like listening to other bands and being like, well, what if we did something like this? And it was cool. So like I'd say for every song, I came in with like the root, verse, and chorus, and then we just deconstructed everything. And then one of the songs, Refraction, Dave Mitchell wrote, and then we went through that same process. We deconstructed it. So it was cool. Like those guys, and like they're killer musicians. So I knew how I wanted it to sound, and what I knew I wanted specifically was the interplay between the bass and the drums. And like if you listen to We're Not in This Alone, like, you know, of course, Ray's vocals are killer. Porcel's doing great on guitar, but the interplay between Walter and Sammy is insane on that record. The way those two instruments work together, and it's almost like they're like playing tag, like, you know, like tag, you're it, like who's gonna like kind of drive this right now. From song to song on We're Not in This Alone, it's some of the best it's what I believe in hardcore is maybe the best representation of how bass and drums can drive a record without anyone even knowing they're driving a record. And it's like, that's what I wanted to focus on, was how the interplay between the bass and the drums, and like really specifically like some of the, like the downstrokes of the bass and then like the kick pedal. And like, I was sitting down, like listening on headphones, like, no, that's off. Like try this, try that. And like, we were like, even in the studio, like I'd have Alex be like, "Hey, do that thing, but now do it in reverse. I want you to like play that beat backwards." And he was like,
what really
talking about? Yeah, it was cool. It was crazy. So it was really good. We had tons of fun in the studio. This guy, Jesse Gander, recorded it. And it was just like, dudes trying stuff. And it was really, really, really fun. And then I brought Dave Mitchell back in the studio to do a bunch of the like kind of like more metal solos. And it was like I don't want to say like tense, but it was definitely like, it wasn't like a pleasant experience for either one of us, because like Dave is like, loves hardcore, and he's like a phenomenal musician. And he's like very, very well versed in lots of kinds of music. And he loves hardcore and punk without a doubt. But like, I love crossover thrash, and there's like a lot of that actually in the record. It's like a real subtext in the record that I baked in, because at that time you got to think stuff like, We're Not in This Alone, it's being written in the backdrop of like Agnostic Front doing what they were doing, right? And like DRI being a huge band. So whether or not they knew it, like of course some of the power of crossover is like entering into what Youth of Today was doing. So like I was getting Dave to do some of the solos, I'm referencing like crossover records and like thrash records. And like, I literally said to Dave at one point, I was like, "Hey, listen, I want you to like this solo right here. I want you to think like 30% Warzone and like 70% Megadeth and maybe like a little Nuclear Assault." And he was like, what is that? What do you even mean? And I was like, I don't know. Just keep that in mind as you do that. But
brain explosion.
He crushed it. Like he totally crushed it. And so like, but it was weird. It was like two people trying to do something where like one person is a phenomenal musician and the other person, like I am not a good guitar player by any means. So like I knew what I wanted it to sound like, but I couldn't play it. So I was just giving him like references.
Sure.
Like,
but that's huge too, right? To orchestrate it.
It was cool, but it was like tense, because I'd be like, no, you got to have like 10% more Warzone. It's too thrash, like 10% more Warzone.
Yeah. And he's like, well, you're telling me technical terms, not not rabies terms.
But the record sounds the way it does is because Jesse's an incredible engineer. He grew up in like punk and hardcore. He sang in this band called DBS, which is like a Canadian like legendary band. He's like a really talented engineer and mixer and producer. So he knew how to make it sound good. It was done in a good studio. And then Dave, who played guitar, is like a tone master, and then Carl, who played bass, is like also a tone master. So
bass.
They know how to make that stuff work. I had nothing to do with any of that. I was just like, make it sound sick, which they did.
Man, talk about the bass tone with them. Let them know what you think.
Oh no! All right, so my favorite bass player in the world is Doug Pinnick from King's X, and I don't really I dig King's X, but I really got into him because of the bass tone. The bass tone sounds like Godzilla destroying Tokyo. And the only other band that I've ever heard make me go, what is you guys? When I heard the bass tone, I was like, holy crap, what in the world is going on right now? It was like Mecha Godzilla destroying a city. It was so intense. I just
Mick and I had off-air conversations about your guys' bass tone a lot too.
Yeah,
because we're doing a project together, a straight edge project, and I'm like, what do you want your bass? He's playing bass, by the way, and I'm like, what do you want your bass tone to sound like? He's like, change.
You gotta talk to Carl, man. Carl's like the nicest dude ever. Like you should message him. He'll walk you all through it.
Okay, definitely.
That'd be cool.
Speaking of King's X and Doug, did you like that band KMX that he does?
There's a couple songs that just because his vocals, I just like his vocals too, but there's a couple times that some of their stuff is pretty killer. I was like, okay, I'll roll with this.
That song Breakdown.
Yes.
Okay. The riff is kind of a junkyard riff, like bow, bada, bow, bow, bow. It's like not a cool riff, but the song is cool, but specifically the chorus. And I'm gonna promise you something that like it has already influenced some of my ideas for like choruses for the next record, because it's got like a real prog a sound to it.
Yeah.
And like, dude, straight up, this record had a lot of influence from like also like 80s like pop and prog music because of like the way they play with like layered vocals and like layered sounds. So like we definitely pulled from a lot of stuff. Anyways, good. I love the King's X reference, but definitely when we did the recording, there was like fun times where we're like, damn, this is like coming out cool. And there were times where people were like, stop referencing like these weird bands that like we don't know about. Like we know about them, but we don't listen to it. So it was cool. I did the vocals with our friend of Render, who has a home studio, and I hadn't sung since Betrayed, so like I didn't have like the pipes to do it, you know. So I wanted to work out how I was gonna make it work. So Render is like a true hardcore metal guy. Like he loves hardcore and he loves metal. Like At the Gates is his favorite band. So I could sit there and like knock out ideas with him and be like, hey, what if we did this kind of like from a Dank Nasty perspective, but then we folded something like this. And like, you have to know you got to work with someone who can talk in those terms to understand what you're saying. And he'd be like, I know exactly what you're talking about. So like, it was really cool working with a Render because like, it was like, he came, like, I would kind of like, I'd feel pretty comfortable saying like, he helped like produce how the vocal sounded because like, he played such a part in the creative process, and it was really cool just have him as a partner. At the same time, I was like finishing my master's degree while I was doing this. So like, I'd go and do like a practicum on a Sunday and like do all this like total like psychology work. And then I'd leave there and go to the studio and scream my head off for like 3 hours. So it was like a fun dynamic that was happening at the same time.
Let off some stress.
Yeah, definitely.
I kind of want to talk about the last track, the death poem, spoken word kind of thing, where that came from. Was that something that had been written before for something else? Did you write it for this? What? Talk about that track.
So when I was like really depressed, so like there was like I was going through a lot of depression, and I'd started my own company, and it was like stressful starting a company. And I'd found myself in like a really challenging relationship. Like like the situation, like, I don't know, I don't want to like blame, I don't want to like, it's tough where I could go. I just found myself in a position where like everything in my life was unhappy, like really fucking unhappy. I was in an unhappy marriage. I was really depressed, super, super anxious. I found myself owning this house that I didn't want to own. I was like, my dad got really, really, really sick. And like, it just felt like everything was bad. Everything was bad. And it's probably the first time in my life that I ever like really was like, hey, I don't know if I want to wake up tomorrow. And I don't know if I want to be here next week. And I don't know if I actually don't know if I could handle the next thing that happens. Like, I don't know if I could handle it. Cause like a bunch of really serious shit all happened within a short, like about a 3-year period of my life. And I started really thinking like, just like, like fantasy thinking like, God, what if I got hit by a car today? Like, that would be amazing. Like, I wouldn't have to deal with any of this stuff. And it was weird because like I grew up going to Catholic school, and I'm not like religious, and I don't believe in any kind of God. And I haven't ever since I got into punk, like, I'm not like, I don't believe in that, but it's weird because I was raised that way. It was like, I had this like weird, almost subliminal belief that this is the audition. And then after you die is the show. Right. Like, and like, it's like a weird mechanism that was in my head that it's like, well, you're just going through this to get to that. And when I started to get like, dark, like things went real dark for me. It was the first time I ever really, I could feel like sense my mortality. Like the idea that it was like, no, like this isn't an audition. Like this isn't practice for something else. And like the 2 minutes you're spending feeling like this right now is 2 minutes you're never getting back. And that like, that dream that you have that something bad happens to you on the way to work is like, if that was reality, there's no like second chance. There's no regaining that. I have like, I had and still have this beautiful young daughter that I have to be looking out for. And it was just really like, I don't know how to explain it, but like maybe the reality of like where my mind was going suddenly became real to me, where I was like, oh shit, like death is like a real thing. And in a really weird, I know that sounds almost stupid. Like, of course death is real. And we all know people who've died, but it was like the first time I had actually ever really been like, oh no, dude, like you could die tomorrow. You could die right now. Like that could be it. And it, in a weird way, like jogged me back into reality, where I was like, yo, I need to get a hold of myself. I need to get a hold of my life. I need to do things to change my life, to make myself happier, to stop feeling this way. And I'd been depressed just like anyone gets depressed, but it was the first time I'd ever felt that level of like truly like serious, severe depression. And when I was coming out of that, I was writing a lot at the time, writing lyrics for the record. And I wrote that about that feeling where it was like, oh, like the best reminder to live my life with like purpose and like thoughtfulness was the fact that like death is actually a real thing. And death in a lot of ways is a blessing. If you can recognize the reality of death, there's no better reminder that you should make the most out of every minute that you have. And that's what that was about.
Yeah. Oh, because I agree. We all know that death exists and that it's real. But I also agree with you that some of us don't take the time to actually think about it and process it. And I think, to be honest, I'm 40 and I hadn't processed that, until I was in my late 30s. So I think a lot of us try to run away from that feeling. And sometimes it's hard for us to get our minds to be still enough to get there. So that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. Mick, anything?
No, that was, once again, the concept and everything that you guys are doing with this is it's so therapeutic. It was good. It was good. Like the conversation that we had with Tuning, and Jeremy, the singer for Tuning, was talking about how when he mentioned you all, and then he mentioned Be Well and a few other bands, he was like, there's so many people stepping up and are not afraid to talk about these subjects and put out stuff that is actually more than just something that people can beat on each other with, which is a good, that's fun and therapeutic in itself, but we're going to the next level and actually talking about real stuff that people are actually going through. And especially now with everything that's happening with the pandemic and everything, just hearing stuff like this, and it just opens the doors for people are actually talking about this stuff.
And I think talking about mental health in punk and hardcore is huge.
Yeah.
So I think it's good that bands like you are stepping out and talking about that.
Right.
Can we take a 5-second sidebar on something?
Of course.
Yeah. Have you listened to a recent Zayo?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sick, man. Like Zayo is like
we reviewed that record on the last 2 podcasts ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you like it?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's their best record. Mick was on the first 2 records. He helped write those records, but I think with that newer lineup, which I guess is now the old lineup, I don't know, but because they've been around for like 15 years now, but I think it's the best record since Save Yourself from Hell.
Man, like I was talking to someone recently where I was like, yo, I'm not like driving around in my car listening to Zayo, but like, damn, like that, like they've put out like really consistently good records. And like what was the one they had Virus in the title about 4 or 5 years ago? What was it?
The Well-Intentioned Virus.
Yeah, that's a really good record. That's an EP, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good record. Like I was like, what? Like it's like 15 years later, Zayo's a band still, and they're writing a cool ass EP. Like it's good. Like if you're still friends with those guys, give them props. Like they definitely they can deliver. Well,
yeah. The crazy thing is there was kind of a couple of years there where there was some separation because we're all in different places. But man, in the last 4 or 5 years, we've kind of it's almost like family reunion time now when we all go to a show or whatever. It's kind of cool to hang out. But that new record,
tell them about the drummer, how he put out Preface.
Oh yeah, like if it wasn't like we released some early demo stuff and Jeff was the guy who kind of was pushing that. He's like, yeah, you guys need to put this out now. Let's get this guy and this guy involved and we'll help do that. Jeff is the one that helped us get all our because none of us knew what we were doing. We didn't knew how to sign up for anything. And he was like, you guys need to sign up for your ASCAP. You guys need to sign up for this. And I was like, okay. And he goes,
yeah, he got them all royalties for this record.
This is the first time I ever got royalties ever. Like it's 20 years later, and I'm like, awesome, I got a check in the mail. I was like, what the heck?
I can make money from music.
So it was incredible. Yeah, those guys, like they, that's something that I did a long time ago. Those guys have been doing it for, it's like a whole other thing. 25 years ago for me. So yeah, That's insane.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, where did the time go?
Yeah, exactly.
It all went in that beautiful white beard of Mick's.
Yes.
The Father Time beard. What future plans does Change have as a band? Any tours, new EP, or record in the works, maybe?
Man, okay. So we have
new merch.
We have so many shows unannounced that we're just kind of seeing what happens. Like so like we don't want to be like irresponsible and start being like, oh, we got this, that, and this. We have a show booked, the second Just Another Gig, which is in Tacoma, Washington on September 18th. Bunch of awesome bands, but we have stuff booked or being booked up until like December of 2022. Like we have like a lot of stuff. Yeah, wow. December of 2022. We have a lot of cool stuff. And like what's cool is like this band essentially, a couple of members are moving towards California, one lives in Seattle, like me and Mike live here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Like we're not like out trying to be like a band, we're just out like, we love hardcore. We love playing like this kind of music. We're all straight edge. We're all friends. We love traveling. So yeah, like, and also like everyone in the band is actually into hardcore, which is cool. Like, I mean, so much of how I do stuff about hardcore is actually based on what I learned from Chris. Like, I'm gonna say like a story about Chris is like Chris used to like get other bands demos and bring them on tour with us and like, you know, like give them out or sell them just because he was always trying to like make other people aware of like local bands. And again,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but like that kind of idea like had a huge impact on me, and that's like part of why I ended up doing React, and that's like part of how we run the Change Instagram is like always trying to like hype up other bands and draw attention, because it's like, you know what, like you can't like mug everything for yourself. Like the whole idea if you have a platform, you should be sharing it from like a community perspective. But yeah, we got a ton of plans that way. Chris, is there anything you want to add in there?
No, I mean, just co-sign everything you said. Like we just love hardcore. We want to play these songs. We want to, you know, I just want to get on stage and have people jump off it and just hang out together. Like, you know, two of us live in Canada, as Aram said, and three of us live in the US. So I haven't seen Aram or Mike since March 2020. You know, it's been a year and a half since I've even physically seen two of the members in the band. The other two members that live in Seattle, you know, I still hang out with them quite a bit. But yeah, Aram and Mike are stuck on the other side of a closed border right now. And
so you said
I'm just psyched to like hang out again, you know, with each other.
So Canada is closed right now, isn't it?
Yeah, like I can travel for business, and like we're about to start doing that, but it's been closed. It might open up in August. Like we're pretty positive we're going to be able to play this show in September, but yeah, it's been closed for like well over a year, like well over a year.
Yeah, because we have a guitar player for the band that Mick and I started, the straight edge band, is in Canada, and he's basically saying he can't get to a studio right now.
Where in Canada is he?
I can't tell you that. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
This guy witness protection or something?
I could tell you, but I gotta kill you.
Yeah. I meant I
Does
don't
he live down the street from me? What's going on? Is it me? Like...
Don't you know you're playing guitar in our band, bro?
It's your dog Blue.
Oh, it's Blue. Okay. In terms of what we're gonna do next recording, like, I mean, I have a ton of songs, and like it's really about like how we can get together, how much time we can spend together. Like we've talked about doing something with tuning, like with our friends tuning. Like we've talked about like what labels, because there are a few labels have reached out, and it's not like, again, we're not trying to like be a band. And I'd say one of the real important things for both Chris and I is like,
wait, what do you mean you're not trying to be a band?
Well, like we're going to be a band, but this is what I mean by it. It's like hardcore only has like a finite amount of shows, record labels, anything going on at a certain time.
Sure.
And we're out playing, like we're going to be a band, we're going to do these things, but like we want to play super cool shows. We want to like put out cool records with great record labels. But Chris and I very fortunately had a time where we were able to like tour the world and do all this cool stuff and put out all these records. And like, there's a kind of thing of being like older people who are still playing in bands, which is like, make sure that you're not trying to like round up all the glory back towards yourself again, and like really respect like the current generation and the generations that are coming up, and can respect their space. So like if cool shows are coming up, of course we want to play a cool show, but like, do we need to play every single cool show and like fight and battle to get those shows? It's like, dude, I want to play with like awesome bands and like bands that I'm psyched on, current, really, really cool bands. Like if Drain came, it's like, yeah, I want to play with Drain, but also like recognizing like, yo, there's probably a kid who's like 17 years old who's like Drain is their favorite band. And for them, that's their youth of today. And it's like, you know what? It's cool if we don't get everything. And it's cool if we don't play any show. It's cool if we don't take if a record label is going to put it out, like maybe, or record labels that maybe we help turn them on to other bands. And like, I'm not saying that from like what good guys we are, but more from like the mindfulness of being an older person who's playing in bands who've already had a shot at it. It's like, don't try and eat up all the resources. Don't tread lightly, or don't tread heavily, tread lightly, and try and be like a connector of other people. So
that's
I don't know.
Wise. That's wise.
Like, Chris, I don't know, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's well said. Like, you know, don't get us wrong. Like, we love doing this. I can't wait to get on stage and play again. I can't wait to, you know, hopefully have kids jumping on top of me while I'm trying to play guitar. But like at the same time, we also don't want to like suck up all the, you know, all the air in the room, you know? So.
Who put out this record? I guess was it New Age?
React.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
React,
I knew that.
React is a label that I started a long time ago, and it's
that's your label.
Well, it's a guy named Evan's label who sang in Mindset. Okay. I started it, and then I passed it over to Evan.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Are you guys looking for any bands? No. I'm just teasing you. So this is the time when you guys can plug any of your friends' bands, coffee shops, record labels, or anything that you want. Go ahead.
I love this part of the interview because it's like, I don't know, there's just so much good stuff in hardcore right now. Like, I don't know. I think it's a really good time. Like, even though there hasn't been, at least in our area, there hasn't been a show in a year and a half. You know, they're coming back slowly but surely. But, you know, despite that, it's weird. It's an interesting dynamic because hardcore is such a live thing, like such a live experience. It's so crucial to the reality of hardcore to have shows and have like energy and feel that. But at the same time, even though that hasn't been happening, there's been a lot of really cool stuff that I've just been super psyched on. I could probably list off bands for like a half hour, but like Mick, you mentioned Be Well earlier. Their record last year was probably one of my favorites of the year. Exide from, I think they're from North Carolina, maybe. Sick Band, Initiate, Entry from LA, Time and Pressure, Punitive Damage. One Step Closer is one of my favorite bands right now.
Oh yeah.
Who else? Dare.
Rejection.
Oh, Inclination.
Oh, Inclination is so sick. Rejection.
I was gonna say I stepped on Aram when he shouted out Rejection Pack, the homies from Boise.
Do you drink coffee at all?
Well, I got to know a couple of things in there. Ingrown, Scowl, Tsunami, Dare. Chris, you said Dare, right?
Mm-hmm. Did, yeah.
Cool band from Southern California called Firestarter. They're neat. Oh, there's my current favorite band, like new band, is a band called Jade Dust from Portland, and they are like,
what's it called?
Jade Dust. They put out a demo.
Dust.
They just put out a demo, and it's so sick. But like, they've got a record coming out on a label called Extinction Burst, which is a very cool record label. Dude, this new record is phenomenal. Like, if you
know what the demo's called, so I can look it up?
I'll look it up for you right now, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, they're
well, he does that. The Chain Whip EP that just came out.
Oh yeah,
is so sick. I love it. It's one of my favorite records of the year. Violent Spirit. Have you guys heard that EP from Finland?
No.
Dude,
write that down, Nick.
I am
so sick. It's like Poison Idea with Maiden riffs.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
It's, it's got like Motorhead vibes at times. Like some
that sounds
Japanese
amazing.
hardcore influence. It's gnarly. Like, my first time listening through it, like I got like maybe a song or two in, I was like, this might be a little bit much for me, because it's just like all over the place. But then by the time I finished the fourth song, I was like, no, this is like one of the best things that came out this year, because they do take all these influences and they cram it in to like
what's the name of them again?
Violent Spirit.
Violent Spirit.
Yeah, they're a Finland band.
Finland. Oh, great.
The Jade Dust demo is just self-titled, but like you can find them.
Oh, okay.
They're like,
okay, yeah.
It's so good.
They have a band. They have a band camp.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Birth Old City as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we didn't we review that record?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
And I also really like that band Speedway from Sweden. They're so
great.
sick.
On Rev now.
Yep.
No Right from California.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
you
Pillars
also,
of Ivory.
Yeah, POI.
Yeah.
Outside of music, have you guys ever seen the show Wayne on Amazon Prime?
No.
No, I saw an ad for it the other day. So is it good?
What's that
so
all about?
Sick.
It's
so
good.
there's the dude that wrote it is a hardcore kid from Brockton, Massachusetts, and awesome dude. Moved to LA, I believe, and he's a writer there. But it's just a sick show about like this kid, like this kind of like poor kid that grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts, and it's I mean, the story's kind of interesting. Like it's about his dad dies, and his dad before he dies tells him, "Hey, I bought you this like Trans Am, but your mom's boyfriend stole it," basically, and they live in Florida. So like this kid basically gets on his motorbike, gets this girl he just met, and they like run away to Florida to try and get the Trans Am back from this messed up like Florida family. But it's so sick, and it's got like Fucked Up is in the soundtrack, Refuse, there's Youth of Today song in it.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Wayne.
Oh, cool.
I'll put that in my notes.
Yeah.
Coffee though, like definitely Timeless in Oakland is the best. I love Timeless. I love Heartwork in San Diego. Aaron Dahlbeck from Bain has his own coffee company that is real cool. So check that out. And then locally, man, what coffee do I mess with? I don't know. There's a place called Turks that I love. It's like locally owned little coffee shop. Owner is like a real bizarro cat, which I'm real into. So like I'm real into that.
It's cool.
Have you guys ever heard of a little coffee shop called Starbucks?
Now I'm telling you the truth, and I'm not just like saying this to be super cool guy. I've never had Starbucks coffee.
I appreciate that, because what I was actually going to say is you couldn't pay me enough to support that place, because their owner used to own the Seattle Supersonics and sold them to a group that promptly moved them to Oklahoma City. So a hard boycott for the last 12 years or so.
It's personal for you.
Oh yeah.
Moving your sports teams. Nope.
Yeah, man. They took at that time our only title that the Seattle had. Gave it away to Oklahoma City.
Well, now you have a hockey team.
Yeah.
You're going to have a hockey team. Excited about that?
Yeah, I'm super excited.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I could name some of the players that we have because I've been following it, but like I couldn't name you one hockey player, over the last probably since Eric Lindros when I lived in Philly. But
yeah, I was religiously watched hockey from like 91 to 2001 and then picked it back up this year and watched all the way to the Stanley Cup. I watched Tampa Bay win it. I'm not a fan of anything Florida, so.
Hell yeah. I'm pumped though. I love Seattle sports, so I'm really psyched to get a team and, have grudge matches with a Rams team up north.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't care about hockey though. So like,
Oh.
I don't, because I cared about hockey so much when I was a kid. I grew up in Calgary. I was into the Flames, and I was there for like the Oilers dynasty, and then like Calgary, the rivalry, and like Theo Fleury and like all of those guys, like when they finally beat Edmonton, but then didn't like in the playoffs, but then didn't win the cup. But then the next year they won the cup, and it was like the greatest. And I don't know, I I just never cared after that. Like I felt like I climbed Everest. Like even though I didn't do anything. Actually, what I did do when I was a kid, I had a top to bottom Calgary Flames sweatsuit. So I had
respect.
Was it an Adidas sweatsuit?
No, it was just like, you know, whatever.
Tearaway.
Full tearaway.
It was a
Onesie?
red crew neck with a giant flaming C. It was red sweatpants with a flaming C, and I had a red corduroy hat. I would wear it when I play. So that was my.
Dude,
that's like Greg Pollard style.
Band photo.
Yeah.
That image, I got that imagery in my head, and I'll never let it go. Thank you for that.
Good. I hope my gift to you.
But I grew up in Michigan, so I was a Detroit fan back in the 90s. So I feel you, because Detroit didn't win at all. And then boom, 2 in a row.
Well, and that was when I was in Philly and I was a Flyers fan and you guys beat us.
That's right.
So yeah.
Take that. Cool. Last question here. And I like this question. So humor me. What is your guilty pleasure movie, TV show? Boom.
I don't even know. I'm shameless.
Come on.
I'm shameless. I don't know. No, I'm shameless. So I don't know if I have guilty pleasures. It's just stuff I like, and because it's sick. Like
what's something that's like cringy that you wouldn't want to like tell your grandma or somebody that you watch it?
See, I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the best TV show ever made.
I like Buffy too.
There you go.
That's not cringy. It's like
it's just
like really
the truth.
classic. Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly campy, but it's
true.
It's amazing.
I'm like a real sci-fi geek. So like, I don't know, like, so if you ask me how many episodes or how many times I've watched each episode of like all of the major Star Trek franchises, there's like no answer. But I'll tell you where it gets interesting. It's that I have transcended watching the show, which I still watch all the time. I listen to podcasts and watch YouTube videos about episodes, and like I'll listen to like a 2-hour conversation about the Wrath of Khan. And like, that's cringy stuff that I definitely do. And like, I'm real into like discussions about classic sci-fi. Like, I love it. Especially about Star Trek: The Next Generation. Like Red Letter Media does like these like top 10 best The Next Generation conversations. And like, I will just be like, oh yeah, so that's a fantastic point, sir. Like, you know, like I'm really into it.
That sounds like funny. Me, but with like fantasy football. Podcast.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's
terrible.
That's a guilty pleasure that you don't want to admit. Fantasy football.
Except that's real, Chris. that actually is like based on some kind of thing that's actually happening. Like real people doing
sort of, yeah.
Or are you saying the Wrath of Khan isn't real?
Well, you know what?
Klingon is an actual language.
You know what's reality at this point? I think you're right. I think you're totally right.
That's what my wife listens to podcasts about Harry Potter and what's the other one? The one about hobbits and stuff.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, thank you. Lord of the Rings. So she'll totally understand.
Yeah, I'm sitting here laughing because the other day when I was driving around for work, I totally listened to a 2-hour podcast on the Schmilleron. So
the what?
Token. I was listening to something about tokens for 2 hours. So yeah.
So the moral of the story here: podcasts are cringy. Is that what we're saying here?
I'm not kidding. Like when you're saying that, like last night I listened to like what was the backstory of the Witch King and I was like, what is his backstory of the Witch King? I really got to dig into this. Like I'm doing the dishes in my house and I'm listening to this. So I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for putting out a killer record and for being on the podcast. We really appreciate it. Thank you for opening up about everything that you guys have gone through. We super appreciate that. I always like it when the podcast gets real. We can have real conversations with people. So I appreciate that. Thanks for being on. Thanks for taking the time. Mick, you want to outro this?
Yeah.
Take us out of it?
Yeah, totally. Thanks, guys. And if there's one song you want to play off the album, what would it be to close us out?
I see the wheels turning.
Unexpressed.
Awesome.
Oh, no. Still.
No, still? All right.
Still.
All right, here we go. Let's drop still.
All right, so we're at that part of the show where we review bands and albums that we like.
I second that.
You second that? And we got 4 really good albums this time.
We do.
I'm pretty stoked about it. So would you like me to start with one of my picks first? All right.
Yeah.
Let's start with this one. I won't get into any of that. We're just gonna start with one of mine. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about the album The Weight and Cost by the band Be Well. Album dropped August 21st of 2020. It's 11 tracks.
12 tracks, right?
12 tracks? I thought it was 11. 11 or 12 tracks. One or the other. But it does have
Looks like it's 12 tracks.
12 tracks. I must have missed one. My bad. 12 tracks. It's got the guitarist.
Wait a minute.
Oh no, wait, hold on.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's only 11.
It's the 11, but it's 12 on Bandcamp and Spotify because they have
the extra song.
The single edit.
Yeah.
Of Confessional.
Yeah. Right. Like who does that anymore? Who does single edits? Like there's no radio play anymore. Like what?
So in a way, we're both right.
Yes.
But mostly you are right.
But this has the singer for Battery in it. It has the guitar player from Bane and Converge in it. And I heard these guys a while ago, but the singer for Tuning brought them up again, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna dig into that album again because I dug it, but I just didn't kind of listen to it all the way through. And so I started playing it more and more in the car, and I was like, you know what? I really dig this album. You can hear hints of Battery in it. You can totally hear the singer's old band. I even hear beyond just Battery because they're from DC, but I hear a ton of DC hardcore influence. I even hear a little bit of Have Heart in it. And before we get too far, it is a little emo.
A little.
But for me, it's not too much. It's just a damn good album, in my opinion. It is just straight punch you in the gut, emotional, therapeutic, I don't even know how to. I can't explain how much I love this album. I listened to it so much that for my 17 year wedding anniversary, my wife actually bought me the vinyl and a t-shirt. She was like, "You've been listening to this so much." I was like, "I know that you dig."
Oh,
this.
really?
And,
she got it for you?
She got me the vinyl and the t-shirt. And so
Cool.
so now I have it on vinyl to listen to. I love it. I love the sound of it. I love the guitar tone. I love the energy behind everything. And honestly, it's the vocals that kind of sell it, because it is very sing-songy at moments, but you can kind of hear the push that I don't have any other way to describe it, but it reminds me of Battery so much. His just the way he throws lyrics together and then throws out the rhythm to his vocals. It just, I don't know, it just gets me. And that on top of that, just the emotional impact of the lyrics and the drive of the music I love it. I love this album. It's going to be very hard for me for this not to be one of my, I know it came out in 2020, but for me listening, I guess this year, it's become one of my favorites. And my track off this album is Strength for Breath. I love that song and I want to play it because everybody needs to experience it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's drop it. Here we go. So what did you think?
Well, this Be Well record, you sent it to me. I didn't know anything about him at all. Yeah. Never heard of him. And then after you sent it to me, I heard a bunch of people talk about it, a bunch of people posting it. But yeah, we chatted with the Change.
Yeah.
And the singer, like you just said, talked about them too. And I was like, you know what? I need to go back. I did the same thing. You sent it to me and I listened to it and I was like, I don't know about this record. And then when I saw other people post it and talk about it, I was like, what? I must be missing something. And then when the singer Change talked about it, I was like, all right, I'm going to go back and give this another honest listen and try to figure this record out to see if I like it or not, because I don't think I gave it the right amount of time to figure it out. So all I got to say is this album is interesting. It has a Taking Back Sunday meets hardcore vibe for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's hardcore, and yet it's not hardcore at all. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
You can't.
It's weird. I don't hate it, and it's not my favorite. I think it's a good listen, but it's not something like I would put on repeat on purpose, like while I was working, or I don't know, whatever. Like, I don't know. It's just something I don't think I'd listen to all the time. But it's a good, solid record too. So it's conflicting. It's confusing. It turns my brain into a pretzel. Each Passing Day and Longing might be my favorite tracks because I think those two mix hardcore punk with that emo sound kind of the most.
Right.
At least that's what I got. All the instruments I think are perfect. They're right on for the style. It's just not my style of music as a whole. Usually, ... back in.
Back in.
But then, after all these dudes and people and whoever are posting about this band, I gave it more listens. I gave it a few weeks because you said this to me a while ago.
Yeah.
We've had this. We've been able to listen to this for a little over a month.
Right.
So I listened to it and then I stopped. I didn't listen to it at all for 2 weeks. And then I wrote this out. And then I started listening to it again. Gave it a few weeks, and it actually has really grown on me a lot after each listen. It had it, and I know I said I wouldn't put this on rotation, but it has been in my rotation. And I think it's one of those records that really needs to grow on you because it's just so funny. It's like it's completely hardcore and emo mixed together, which DC that makes sense because like Fugazi, you know.
Right.
But I don't know. It's different. The styles are different. I think they mesh together well after you get used to it. And then the end, I have to say, I really dig it. So
yes,
I'm a fan of it, but I'm walking that fence still. So,
well, I think the reason why when you give it a second listen, because when you first turn it on and you're automatically like, you know, because the first time I listened to it, I was like, you know what, this is really, maybe it's a little too emo-y, so to speak, like to Taking Back Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like Taking Back Sunday's fine every once in a while, but to me, it's like the more I listened to it and the more I heard the guitar parts and everything, but the phrasing and the lyrics and all that, it just wasn't typical. Like it wasn't emo to be emo. It wasn't, it was almost, it was like I don't know, you could just feel the intensity. Like it had to be done this way.
Well, it was real. Like they weren't like, let's make an emo hardcore band.
Right.
Like I felt like they just played music and it came out that way, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Because I think, and that's the reason why the Strength for Breath song was so impactful, because when I sat and listened to, you know, what was being said, I was like, you know, holy cow, like this guy's like tearing his guts out here. Like, there's some real something that happened, and this is the byproduct of it. And I'm like, holy crap. And then, you know, compared to, oh, hey, let's see if we can write a song about a breakup that I had 20 years ago, and let's write a song about it and make it emotional, and then all the kids will be happy. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's just a difference. So it's more real. So
it's very real.
So what song did you want to play off of this?
Passing Day.
Passing Day. All right. Sweet. Let's do it. All right. Here we go.
With me
right, we're gonna do one. You want to do one of yours now? Go back.
Yeah, all right. Let's do
All right.
that. We'll do that. We'll do that. I'm gonna do "Goodbye World"
Uh-oh.
is the band. "At Death's Door"
Okay.
is the album. Came out May of this year, 2021. Okay, check this out. 15 tracks, clocking in at under 12 minutes. What do you think
Right.
about them apples? So I have to say that I absolutely love how obnoxious and noisy this album is. Every vocal melody and every song sounds pretty much exactly the same. And I love it. I'm a sucker for that. I don't know why. Sometimes it's just therapeutic for me to put on a record that sounds almost the same all the way through. Does that make any sense?
It can, yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's because, like, when you sent me the Be Well record, I did not expect that. So I was like, oh. But when I put this on, this is exactly what I expected
It to be.
And it was exactly what I expected it to be through the whole way through. And for some reason, that was comforting to me. Every song sounds the same in the best way possible, for sure. It gives me a sense of relaxation. And I know that sounds crazy, but it kind of like, it almost becomes background noise and it helps my brain relax. I don't know. Weird? That might be weird. But the monotony of the snare drum beat, the same guitar riff, and the same vocal pattern puts me in a good state of mind. I have to say, weird enough, I know that doesn't sound like a positive thing, all those things I just said, but it is. And I like this album a lot. It's basically a metal thrash. It's like, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but it's like if you put like a metal thrash band in a trash can and you like rolled it down a hill and the same in like this, you heard like the person yelling in the same like same pattern. That's this record. And it's like rolling down, it's like rolling down this hill and it's hitting potholes. It changes a little. I approve of this record. Let's drop the track "Hacked to Pieces." Of course it's called that.
Right.
Boom.
There it was.
Yeah, so that was "Hacked to Pieces," and it's a total of 1 minute and 13 seconds. So we just played you the whole song.
Right, the whole thing, because you had to experience it.
So good. All right, Uncle Mick.
So this is how I would describe this album. It's nonstop. It's very loud. I agree with you that it's obnoxious and noisy. It sounds like a bunch of metal battle bots got into a rumble in a tin can factory.
Ooh.
Just going at it.
There was thought behind that. I like that.
And at first listen, it just assaulted all my senses, and I was like, I don't know if I can dig this or not. So I had to wait and listen
digest
to it
a little bit.
yeah I had to come back and listen to it again. And I started to realize that this album definitely changes your mood in a good way. Like, because at one point I just laugh because I'm like, who came up with this, for one? And then the sounds and the barrage of everything that's happening, I'm like, who does this? And then I just appreciate it more. And it does sound like the same thing over and over again, but there is some sort of soothing quality to it. And that's so weird to say. And so I found that I have to be in the mood to listen to it. But I will say this. This is if you have any demolition to do around your house, any type of anything that you need to tear apart, you need to turn on this album. Or if you want to be crazy like I am, you get your two sons in a room and turn it on and just watch what happens next, because they're going to start wrestling and fighting and punching, and it just makes a great soundtrack.
Give them both a Dr. Pepper and shake them up
and let them go. But no, it just sounds like it's just the soundtrack to Demolition is what it is. And the track that I dig the most is the song Normal, which how does that song title even fit? But the bass intro is like 50 seconds of just buzzsaws. It's just tearing things apart. And I'm like, what? And I love it. It's just it's insane. This if it's just insane. And the definition of insanity is to keep repeating the same thing over again and expecting the same result. Well, it's like they went for it. They're like, we're expecting this result, and this is what we're gonna get. And it works. And it sounds like both of us, when we share about this album, it sounds like we're dissonant, and we're not, because it's good.
This is such a great. I've never laughed this much in a good way.
It's good. It's good. So wherever you guys are right now, no. Goodbye World, seriously.
Drop your track.
Drop it. Here it comes.
We're back.
Yes. So it's my turn again, right?
Yeah, let's hear your band.
All right. So this is an interesting album as well. EP, I should say, right?
Yeah, 5 tracks.
Yeah, 5 tracks. EP. The band is Consecrate.
Consecrate.
The album or the EP is Trials. It came out 1/21/21, the day before my birthday.
Ooh.
Yeah. And they're from Malaysia.
They are indeed.
So this is like what, the third band that we've reviewed from the Far East, I think.
Yeah.
So good stuff going on out there. I actually found this album on my birthday. It came up on Spotify, like as a recommended like birthday new release gift or whatever. Yeah, beautiful birthday gift. And honestly, what caught my attention is the cover. Like,
talk about the cover.
The cover is, well, when I saw it, I was just like, what? And I just want to encourage everybody, you need to go, and you could go to the Spotify set list for Coffee and Hardcore, and you can we'll put a couple songs by these guys on there, and you can see the album cover for yourself. But it definitely has what I would say on one side, it has a member of the Ku Klux Klan. And on the other side, I believe it is a Black Panther. I would say that's the depiction that they're going for.
Oh, you think so?
I was trying to figure it out. And I was kind of like, what is going on with this? And then I listened to it and I was like, okay, this this is pretty crazy. And I started checking out some of the lyrical content. So I was like, okay, so they're definitely not pro KKK. So this is good, right?
I'm looking at the photo right now. It's hard to tell what the other guy who's not a KKK member is because it's kind of blurry.
Yeah.
Like it looks like he has a mustache.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's wearing a black jacket. His arms are crossed.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. It could be anybody.
But
anybody.
But from the content of the album, I would say that they're definitely speaking out against racism and the trials of having to fight against that for most of your life. So that's what from the lyrical content, from what I can guess. Yeah. I mean, it's because
the cover confused me, to be honest.
It did. And the cover did confuse me. And it almost made me like, I don't want to
right.
Like, I was like, I don't want to listen.
That.
I don't want to listen to this. And then I saw who it says recommended if you like, like kind of like down at the bottom where you saw other bands. I'm like, yeah, well, that's strange because I dig all these other bands. And so that's when I started looking them up on Instagram after I listened to it. I was like, this is really good. But let's see. Sorry. Got caught up in the cover. But yeah, the whole EP, the guitar tone is brutal. It's unique, it's different. It kind of reminds me, I don't know how to explain this. Like back in the 90s, I remember a couple of bands used to play live gigs with what would be called like the amp was called a Sovtech.
Okay.
And they had a distortion pedal that went with it. And I can't remember the name of the distortion pedal, but it reminds me of that brutalness, like that amp that I remember that tube head amp from Russia. It was called a Sovtech, and it was so heavy. And the guitar tone, when I heard it, automatically reminded me of that. So it's very unique. I don't hear that so much anymore. Some of that. Some of the guitar parts when it's happening almost sometimes sounds like it's out of tune, but in a good way. It's like makes it obnoxious and gritty and in your face, and it just bites. It's just like cutting. It's so different and heavy. And honestly, I love the whole album. It makes you just want to punch somebody in the face. It's so good.
Punch a KKK member in the face.
Yes. Punch a racist right in the face.
Punch that old racist down at the tractor store.
But the track I dig is Eyes Closed. I really dig that track.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah.
You're dropping that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to drop it right now.
Okay.
For our resistance.
what do you think of this album?
I think it's great. I think when you sent it to me again, the album cover threw me for a loop, and I was like, I don't know about this, but I think it's 5 solid tracks. On the last track, Love Like This, the guitar solo is so crazy. It's epic.
Yes.
In all of the sense of that word, it is so epic. It rails, it goes off the rails, it comes back on. It's amazing. I don't know how this guitar player learned how to play. Like when I listen to it, I hear the band, but then I hear this guitar player and I'm like, dude, this dude shreds.
Yeah.
This is they formed this band around this guy, didn't they? like he's like, I want to be in a band. Oh, you can play guitar? And he just like, they're like, okay, we'll make a band.
Right.
Just for you to show off your guitar solos. But seriously, I like the vocals. I like the gang shout backup vocals a lot.
Yeah.
My favorite track is Trials and Tribulations.
Okay.
Probably because it's different from all the other tracks. It's weird because it kind of takes you on like this crazy it's so awesome. It twisted up my tongue. But in all seriousness, it takes you on like this crazy magical musical journey.
Yeah.
From crazy amazing guitars to the vocal melody to the weird off-timing drums towards the end of the weird breakdown at the end. I don't know how to describe it. I know it sounds like I'm taking crazy pills, but if you listen to this, you'd be like, this is a trip.
Right.
I don't know. I like the vocals. I like when he does when he like does the echo thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. It's awesome.
I know I'm probably supposed to like that track the least because it seems like I would. And I know the band has like a Tool vibe at times, but I absolutely love it. Let's drop Trials and Tribulations now.
Boom.
I believe through the
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is I think the drummer for that band is the vocalist as well.
Whoa.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, for real. I think so. And some of the footage that I saw, which is not a whole lot, it totally looks like the singer is the only one that has a microphone. Or the drummer is the only one that has the microphone.
Weird. That means he'd be crazy talented.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty intense.
Dude, this whole album is intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It melted my face completely. I liked it. It was a good album.
It is good. All right. So you got one more?
I think I do.
You do.
I got Therapy from San Diego, California.
Oh.
Boom. I guess maybe it's just called Therapy EP 2020.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't really have a name. But it's 5 tracks, released January of 2020.
Ooh.
And Native Skullcrack recommended this band to me. So I thought I should do the checkout. And I did.
And you were glad.
I was glad. The guitar work is fast and delicious.
Yes.
But I mean, that's fitting, right? Because it seriously had Skullcrack guitar vibes. And so when I heard the guitar in this band, I was like, well, that just makes sense that Nate would send this to me because it sounds like a band they would play with or that they're inspired by.
Right.
And I thought that was great. I love the heavy, screaming, gritty vocals so very much. As you know, I like those.
Oh, yeah.
Everything about this 7-inch record is purely amazing. It's fast. It's angry. It's put together well. It's played extremely well. The musicianship is phenomenal. Nothing but good things to say about this record. It is noisy.
Yeah.
It's seriously pissed off. I don't know. I guess I was in the mood for 2 noisy records. I guess I picked the most noisy records of the podcast this time around. But I actually put up like a Facebook thing saying, hey, can people help me find bands for the Coffee and Hardcore podcast? And this was one of them. Nate reached out and I checked out a bunch of them and I really, really liked this one. So Nate, you delivered. Thank you so much. But my track that I love is Void. I love the spacey, sparse guitars in the beginning that just kick in hard. So let's drop Void. Let's do it.
Boom.
Crazy, you
All right. What do you think, Mick?
All right. So here's what I think. I love the vocals. They're snotty and sassy, and the vocalist sounds like the leader of a zombie horde.
Ooh, like that.
Coming to like just annihilate everything. I love the bass tone so much. The bass tone makes me want to smash windows.
Ooh.
Like, it's just, I love it.
A whole new side of you.
Yeah. Well, this album is just chaotic and just nasty and very, 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 very just snotty and just gets you kind of riled up. Like, it just, and I feel like I'm like, from the vocals, I feel like I'm getting punched in the face. Like, I got to get your attention. So I'm like bitten, slapped in that area, like just woken up. And then, you know, like the guitar is just fast and brutal. Yeah, I was really glad you sent this to me. I was like, yeah, I dig this quite a bit. I like the song Omen, like that one.
Yeah,
it's pretty killer, and it's just pure evil.
What are we waiting for? Let's let people hear it.
Here it comes.
That was therapy.
It was.
Again, thank you to Native Skullcrack for recommending this band to me.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Thanks, Nate. You've made our day.
You crazy, crazy bastard.
So don't forget, you can check out the tracks from these bands. We'll put them on the Spotify set list for Coffee and Hardcore. And of course, any other bands that we've talked about during this whole episode.
Yeah.
And honestly, there might this set list might be pretty long. We got a lot of bands that was recommended on this episode.
It's true.
Good stuff.
Time for the next level.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking around for yet another episode of the Coffee and Hardcore podcast.
So hey, listen, always check out the links that we post that has all the bands, all the coffee, all the good stuff that we talk about in the show. You'll find them in the show links. So check those out.
We got a good show for you next month.
Oh yeah.
The plan here is to have Bitter Truth on to talk about their new record.
Ooh.
And just a little tidbit of information, a little sneak peek. It's probably the best record that I've personally heard on the podcast, that we've listened to or reviewed on the podcast.
Yeah.
You agree? You're shaking your head?
No.
Yes.
I agree. It's pretty killer. It's a killer album. So I'm excited to talk to those guys, talk to them about that album, and let them share a little bit about what they got going on. So that'll be cool.
I don't know, man. This record might take them to a new level.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, for real.
Yeah. No,
Like,
for real. Yeah, yeah.
Like I know I already sent you my notes to the next thing, and I won't get into it too much, but I was listening to that and it was inspiring.
Oh yeah. No. And they just keep getting better from the demo till now. They've just gotten ridiculous.
For sure.
Yeah. But hey, listen, make sure you share the podcast, make sure you like it, make sure you add it to your playlists and all that jazz. And also, if you are listening to this on iTunes right now, please leave us a star review, because it gets us out in front of more people. It helps us out. I know most of you listen to this on Spotify because that's where a lot
we look at the numbers.
We do. That's where a lot of people are. But iTunes also helps us out. And anywhere else. If you listen to Google Podcasts, or what is the other one? I can't remember. Stitcher, whatever it is. Help us out. Leave us a review. Wiley doesn't like it, but it does help us spread the word. Share it on your Facebook and Instagram too, you punks.
Punks. You hardcore punks.
You fart knockers.
Hey, we're out of here. So we're gonna try to do this together.
Right.
Nick and I, ready?
Okay.
We're out of here. 1, 2, 3.
See you later.
You fart knocker. Let's do it again.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
See you later.
You
fart knockers.
That was so terrible.
Close enough.
Let's see who can say it first.
All right, ready?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. See you later, fart knockers. No one's gonna listen to us again. Goodbye.
Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, bullshit on. Coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore, coffee and hardcore. Do it right, we got the job.